Oh, a week's already passed. Now it's time to feed your worms. Let's go through the steps and any common mistakes that you might come across. First question, how much should you feed your worms? For the first feeding, you want to be gentle on your worms. Slow and steady helps build up their population. We suggest feeding your worms between 2 to 5 litres or quarts a week, which is roughly the size of this small kitchen caddy, or a couple of big handfuls. While the worm population is still building up, it's important not to overfeed your Subpod. If you do, this can cause a stinky, rotten mess. And the worms don't particularly like it, so they'll move out of your system and not come back until things have settled down or the rotten food has been taken out of your Subpod. As mentioned, you can start to increase the amount of food scraps you feed your worms as the population builds up. But we don't expect you to count every single worm. That's why we've given you an easy worm population indicator on the middle of your divider panel. Here's how it works. There are 3 levels on your divider panel. When the dark compost rises to a new level on your indicator, that's a sign that your worm population has increased, which means you can also increase your food waste. We suggest feeding this amount in litres and quarts for each new level. Level 1, between 2 to 5. Level 2, between 5 to 10. And level 3, between 10 to 30. And don't worry, if you can't remember all these numbers, just pop open your Subpod lid. They're right here under the feeding guide. Not everybody wants to measure their food scraps. Here's a simple rule of thumb that you can follow to feed your Subpod. After adding your food scraps, a handful of carbon, and an air rate, wait 3 days before checking on your Subpod system. And then check to see if at least 50% of the food waste has been eaten. This looks pretty good, which means I can feed it a little bit more. What to do if you've overfed your Subpod. If you've accidentally overfed your Subpod, don't panic. Just add large amounts of carbon, such as coconut peat, to your system and aerate it in. You really can't overdo it here. The more carbon, the better. Remember, slow and steady wins the compost race. And if you're having any trouble, jump online to our community platform Grow Hub to get support from me and the rest of the Subpod family.